So we're here to solve this classic Sudoku by Grant Fikes. I'm going to go through and do more of my speed solving type technique where what I'll take is sets of 3 rows or 3 columns. I take the first 3, the middle 3, and the last 3, and I always look for, at the start of a puzzle, 2 digits where I'm going to try to place the third. In this case, I've got 2 5s in the top, so I'm trying to place a third. That's right here. In the center space, things I'm seeing, I got 2 4s, 2 6s, 2 3s, 2 7s, so those are certainly some of the first things I'll mark. These are the only 2 places the last 4 can go. These are the only 2 places the last 6 can go. We had 7. This is the only place the 7 can go, and here are 2 spots for the last 3. And there's always context you can do as you start to put these in. It's not just rote process where I immediately come back down to the bottom and do the same thing with repeated digits where I've got 2 8s or 2 4s, although we can do that. And doing that, we now start to hit a situation like this, where every time I place a short number, like I just placed this 4, I do change the direction where I was looking at the rows for this. I now look vertically, and I've intercepted my notes. So I quickly get a 4, which quickly places a 6. My notes will always place things when there are only 2 options left for cells, so that gives me a space to go. I'll also start to look at spots which are more constrained. And for instance, in this center column, the only 3 cells left that are empty are in this middle box. So for sure they are 3, 2, and 9. And what that means is even with some of my notes here, I've got some things I can place in for sure, including the 3 in the top of that space. Other thing to search is anytime you have a pattern that's got, and we've got a few spots in this, the H theme from Grant has a lot of these. When you have a pattern where there's a direction that's going to clear out all but one of the cells, or do something like that, that's an interesting space to look. So if I look down here, of the digits that are still in the far right I haven't used, 5 is one that sees these 3 cells and is quick to place, and of the digits up here, 2 is a digit that sees those and is quick to place. And so there are different ways you can sort of feed things you place into next placements. In this case, I've now really finished the center box. I'm placing a 5, which places a 5, which intercepts the 6 note. Got 2 cells left in this area that look pretty quickly to be a 9 and 3 with this 9 over here. 1 2 7 to go now in this row. I'm just jumping around the grid but seeing places that have limited spots, and so 1 2 7, we have a 7 to go. We've got 1 and 2 left for this row, but a 2 is in that 8th most column. So it comes straight in, placing that 2 gives me this 2, gives me this 2. I have just 1 2 to go, which is down here. That hit a note which was for an 8, so I'll just come back and look at 8 now and place another 8. None of these give me a next direction for an 8, so I'm going to look in this box I just placed a number in. Say I've got a 1 and 9 to place, and the digits around already give me those. The 1s give me another opportunity for 1 up here, which gives me a 1 here, which gives me a 1 here, which gives me an 8, which gives me an 8. I'm really just tracking through my notes. The next natural place to think of is the last 8, and I don't have more I can do than that. But whenever you make progress, don't overrun your progress. And in this case, I'd also place this 9 and hadn't looked back at it. So I'll look at the 9 here. That finishes this column, which puts another 7 in. I have 3, 4, and 6 to go in the space. And for now, I guess I'll just mark some of the cells I know about that. Down here in this space, which is now somewhat cramped, we have 3 and 6, but we also have the last 7. We come over here, we have 1 3 6 in this bottom row. We need a 1, we need a 1. That's going to finish up this top, which now comes to the center. 3 with 9. We have a 3, a 6, a 4. Looking for another 4, which goes there. I'm coming back to just spaces which are filled. So this is a 9 and a singleton in this row. After I place a 9, I look for another 9, which places an 8, look for another 8, place a 6, look for another 6. In this case, both of the 6s are here, but it's going to have to intercept with this pattern. So I need to look for a 3, 3, 6. 6 and 5, and I finish the grid. So with a simple puzzle like this, there are lots and lots of ways to make progress, but at least I hope through this video you got a sense of how I use some notation, but also in particular in the start of any grid, scan for options where 2 of 3 digits are present in a chute of rows or columns, and use that to put in notes about the last one. So it's a quick way to really notate out the grid and find spots for progress. The other things to watch for are patterns which have particularly isolated cells, including this pattern of 4 at the start in the grid in these spaces where a given cell in that row would eliminate all but 1 spot. A different version of that pattern would be something like this, where anything that's in this column would eliminate 3 of 5 options. And again, be pretty limiting, but would give me a notation in these other spaces. So I'm far more interested in looking in this column above than in looking in this column above, because an elimination of this column still leaves me 3 spots, something that leaves me 2, or just 1, like over here, are the places to look. So those are some tips from Dr. Sudoku in terms of how to do easy Sudoku puzzles fast, and we'll see you again in future videos.